What up, Homedawgs? My name is Gokey Gamer, coach of the Milwaukee Medichams, and welcome everybody to the first week of the UCDL, where this week we're going to be going up against Lischus. I don't know how you say their name, I'm sorry. I'm just going to say Lischus for now. Coach of the Philadelphia Unknown. Here's the team. What? Overall, I'm very, very excited for this game. This week we're not bringing rain, but I am still very excited. I think we have a pretty good matchup, I'm not going to lie. We're bringing dual Scarf, which is pretty cool, so we are going to go ahead and get started. Let's see what they bring. We are going to see Hippowdon, Cornerstone, Darkrai, Gholdengo, Vaporeon, and Snorlax. Overall, this was more or less what I was expecting. I'm actually not sure. I'm shocked not to see Zapdos or Quack, but these six do all make sense. I do think these six make sense a lot. So let's see here. No Swaddle makes sense. No Indeedee makes sense. Okay, so I do kind of like leading Husk. This Pokemon can hit literally everything super effectively, which is really, really nice. Snorlax being here is a bit of a problem. I could also lead I Am Speed. That is a pretty reliable lead as well. The one Pokemon that could be an issue is Darkrai, and if we see Darkrai, then I immediately go into Overquill, and that'll be that. So I think I'm going to lead I Am Speed. I do like that lead a lot. And then we're going to go ahead and do that. Good luck, have fun to my opponent. Hopefully, this goes well. I am a little bit surprised not to see Zapdos, but I guess with Hippowdon, if I did bring Rain, then Zapdos would kind of be synergy with Hippowdon, so that does make sense. So they opted to go for the route of getting rid of Rain if I brought it instead of, like, going with the Rain. So that makes sense. Vaporeon's going to struggle pretty heavily in this matchup because I do not have any of my water types here, so that's pretty nice. I'm very glad about that. And, yeah, overall, Rain just didn't look that great into this matchup, but I also didn't want to power up Quaquaval at all, so that's why I didn't bring Rain. We're going to see Mermail, that's going to be Vaporeon, so Vaporeon is going to be the lead. Vaporeon, most likely you're probably defensive if I had to guess. I could go for Spikes here and just set up a layer, and I kind of like doing that because I don't think there's anything you can really do to me. We could see a Flip Turn, I think that makes a lot of sense. I want to go ahead and set up my Spikes. I like setting up a layer of Spikes here. I don't think they have Hazard Removal, actually. They don't, so if I get Spikes up, they're staying up on the field, which is really nice. I'm a big fan of that. Let's see. Yeah, Vaporeon can't do anything to kill me, which is great. We're going to immediately set up our Spikes, which is very nice indeed. We're probably going to see Flip Turn here if I had to guess. That would make the most sense. We are going to see a Flip Turn. So this will do a small chunk of damage. Yeah, not that much at all. We're probably going to see Darkrai as the swap. That would make sense to me. In which case, I go into Overquill because I am Assault Vest Overquill, and literally nothing that Darkrai can do to me will be able to ruin my day. So, and if we see Darkrai come in, it's probably the Scarf. I'm assuming if Darkrai is here, it's Scarf. That's just always what I assume. I could be wrong and mistaken, but that's just immediately what comes to mind. We're going to see Evil Swarm. That sounds like a Darkrai. That is absolutely a Darkrai. So we are going to see Spikes. Yeah, these Spikes are going to be really, really nice in this game. So I'm going to immediately go into I Am Joe. Shoutouts to Play More. Very, very nice. Very, very epic. We're going to go into our Overquill, so that way, yeah, Overquill, this Overquill is here to check both Gholdengo and Darkrai. Hippowdon's probably going to be the swap against this Pokemon, but then I go Corviknight, which is my dedicated Hippowdon switch, so there's that too. The nice thing is there is no Steel type here, so I can just go for a Bar Barrage for free. We're going to get some intel on this Darkrai. I'm assuming you're clicking Dark Pulse here. That would be my assumption. Yeah, so you have to be like Scarf. I think that makes the most sense here. So it's not very effective, which is great. I think I can just go for a Bar Barrage here, and that's just what I'm going to do. There's no reason for me to opt to do anything else. I could calc to see. I don't think there's any reason to calc this. Darkrai has to be, like, Choice Scarf, I think. That's the only reason it ever shows up here, in my opinion, is if it is Scarf. So, but just in case, I'll do a quick calc just to see. Yeah, Dark Pulse, it looks like, honestly, that looks like, yeah, that looks like standard Scarf, actually. I calced it was slightly wrong. Yeah, that has to be Scarf. Now, it could be Trick, but I really highly doubt it is. I don't think that makes a lot of sense, so I doubt that that's the case. We're going to see Gravekeeper. That sounds like, yeah, that's Hippowdon. So Hippowdon's going to switch in, which is slightly annoying, but it do be like that sometimes. If we can get a Poison with Bar Barrage, that'd be really, really solid. I would greatly appreciate that. Sand is going to be annoying. We do get the Poison. Wow. Alrighty. Starting off strong, Overquill. Love to see that. Alright. That is a massive boon for us. We're also not Intimidate. I can't remember why I'm not Intimidate. I think I wanted Poison Point just because every single time I switch Overquill in, it's going to be against the special attackers. So I was like, well, there's no point in running Intimidate then. I can run poison points, so that way I can counter anything that wants to do those types of shenanigans to me. I'm going to go into Corviknight. Corviknight actually should underspeed a non-minimum speed Hippowdon. Let's see, let me double check that. Yes, I do barely underspeed a Hippowdon that isn't speed EV'd specifically to be minimum speed. If it has no speed investment but still like 31 speed EVs and not a speed lowering nature, then we always underspeed, which I very heavily value because then I can just click Iron Defense. We're gonna see rocks hit the field, that makes sense. Slightly annoying, but it's not the end of the world. I think here what I'm going to do is I could click Iron Defense. Protective pads aren't as useful here, so which is a bit unfortunate, but it do be like that. I think I kind of want info. Okay, it looks like it was leftovers I think I saw. So I think what I'm going to do here, I think I click U-turn because I think you're going to swap into probably the Gholdengo. I think Gholdengo makes the most sense as a switch here, so I'm going to click U-turn. Either you stay in and go for Yawn, or you switch and go into Gholdengo. So either case is fine. I guess you could be like Smackdown as well, which could be pretty cool tech, but I don't think so. I doubt that's... I think that... I don't even know if Hippowdon gets Smackdown, honestly. And if you have Smackdown, that means you don't have another move. So, and you really want things like Yawn and Recovery, so I think you're probably Earthquake. You could be something else. Yeah, you're going to swap here. That's a really nice thing about Corviknight is it completely walls those types of Pokemon. We're going to see Vaporeon actually switch back in, which is very interesting. I wasn't expecting that. So I think actually what I'm going to do... Let's see, Gholdengo could be a problem for rapid spinning, which I'm not the biggest fan of, so maybe I go back into DEOXYS, but I also don't want to take too much chip. I could also go into the bus. The bus here is a pretty safe switch, but also meh. I think I'm going to go into I Am Tumbler. I think that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to go into Tumbler here. Let's see. Rocks is slightly annoying. Gholdengo, the only way you wall me is if you don't have an item, which could be the case, don't get me wrong. It could be absolutely the case that you do not have an item. I'm very tempted to just click Poltergeist here. I could also click Seed Bomb. Let's see, Vaporeon. Seed Bomb will do like 50% to a Vaporeon, which is really nice. I think what I'm going to do here, I will go ahead and click Rapid Spin just because right now I do have Overquill in the back, so I can switch into that fairly reliably. I mean, having rocks up on the field is annoying, but we can make that work. It depends. Do I think you swap? You might also just go for a slow pivot, which I could see. So I think on the risk that Gholdengo doesn't switch in here on a Poltergeist, I think I click Rapid Spin. Snorlax could also be the switch here, so I'm going to click Rapid Spin. Snorlax could also be the swap. No, they just stay in. Okay, I'm okay with this then. We get rid of our rocks, which is amazing for us. So we're probably going to see is... Oh, we're going to see Rocky Helmet. Okay, that's good to know. Point is done disappear from my team, which is really, really nice. The team is slowly getting chipped down, which is amazing. We do still have recovery on this. Critical hit is fine. I would rather a critical hit here than somewhere else, so I'm okay with this. We could see Darkrai being the switch. We could see Gholdengo being the switch. If Gholdengo is a switch, then it is either Choice Scarf or it is no item. So probably Snorlax. We could maybe see Cornerstone as a lead as well, but I doubt, or well, as a lead, but not as a lead, but as a switch. I guess the nice thing is, well, I am +1 speed, and since I'm +1 speed, I should outspeed, well, I don't outspeed Darkrai at +1, at the Scarf Darkrai, but still. That is good to know. I am at +1, so Ogerpon is no longer a safe switch because I can just Strength Sap that immediately. We are going to see Evil Swarm, so that's going to be Darkrai. Okay, that basically confirms that Darkrai is in fact Scarf. I immediately go into Overquill. There is no reason I don't. There is nothing that this thing wants to do to me against Overquill. There's nothing that this thing wants to do against Overquill. The Hazard Chip is amazing. I'm a big fan of that. Let's see here. Actually, can I see how long the Sand's been active? It's been active one more turn. So we'll see if it's Smooth Rock this turn, basically. I don't think it is, but we'll see. All right, we're going to go ahead and make the swap. I am very okay with this. And we are going to immediately switch into I Am Joe. They don't switch out, I don't think, so they do stay in. They go for Hypnosis, and they miss. So that is unfortunate, but also really good tech. So that does mean that they're not Scarf. So that means Darkrai outspeeds, which is really good information to have. So I think what I'm going to do here, I'm going to click Liquidation. I think that's a pretty safe swap because I think you're going to switch back into Hippowdon. So I'm going to click Liquidation here. You're going to go for Hypnosis again, and you miss again. I am so sorry. Blunder Policy set would have been really cool, but that makes sense that they didn't bring it here. Hopefully we get a defense drop. No defense drop, that's fine. Let's see, Hypnosis... Am I okay? When am I okay with getting Hypnosis? I'm not sure. I guess you could still be Scarf, but Scarf Hypnosis, which is interesting. That would be an interesting play. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch into Corv, because if you're choice locked into this, then that's great. And if you end up switching your moves, then we'll figure that out as well. We're going to go into Corviknight here. You are going to, once again, miss Hypnosis. I am really sorry, but I am not complaining at all. I think I'm going to click U-turn this time. U-turn does a lot of damage. It might not kill, though, which is slightly unfortunate, but at the very least, I can... Actually, no, I can just go for a U-turn here. I'm going to go for U-turn, because then I can U-turn into one of my Scarf Mons. We are going to finally see the Hypnosis lands. That's fine. It's not great, but it is what it is. Okay, so you're probably going to switch here, if I had to guess, probably into Gholdengo. I think Gholdengo makes the most sense. You also did swap into Vaporeon. You can't put any more of my Pokemon to sleep, so I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch into I Am Joe, because I think I Am Joe makes the most sense here. I could also switch into Kilo. I think Kilo makes a lot of sense here, too. I could also just go I Am Speed, honestly. I think I'm going to go into I Am Joe, though. I'm going to go into I Am Joe. I'm okay with Corviknight falling asleep here, purely because of the fact that, oh, they don't switch out either, so that's interesting. I'm okay with this just because of the fact that, yeah. Okay, so you're not Scarf. Okay, that's really good to know. That is really excellent to know. We do get another crit, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. I think I'm just going to click Liquidation here again. You don't want to put any more of my Pokemon to sleep. You could go into Vaporeon here this time. I guess maybe I should Barbarage. Yeah, I'll Barbarage here, because even if you go Hippowdon, I can still go into Corviknight for free. So yeah, I'm okay with this. We now know that this is not Scarf, so that's really good for DEOXYS. So I think that means DEOXYS outspeeds everything. I think that means DEOXYS does outspeed everything. We could see Vaporeon on a Liquidation prediction. We're gonna see Hippowdon. So Hippowdon's gonna switch back in. I'm okay with this. This is fine. Alright, so you're gonna take some more damage with Spikes and Poison as well. You're gonna set the sand back up, which is annoying, but not the end of the world. Barbarage, bada bing, bada boom. You're at half HP. You're probably looking Slack off here if I had to guess. I think that makes a lot of sense. Our Assault Vest user is taking more chip than I would like, so I'm not super happy about that. So I might end up saving this Pokemon later on. We are going to see Lefties and then the Poison proc as well. I'm immediately going to go into I Am Driver, and I'm going to hope that I can recover, or like not recover, but like you know what I mean. That's very good to know. So both my Scarfers also outspeed Darkrai, so Darkrai is no longer a threat, which is great. It's just gonna be a bit more annoying. We're gonna see the rocks get set back up, so that makes sense as well. I think that Gholdengo is probably not a zero item Pokemon, so that's good to know. I'm immediately going to go ahead and click U-turn here because I'm predicting most likely a Gholdengo switch. I think makes the most sense here. So I'm going to go ahead and click U-turn and hope that we wake up this turn. That would be really nice. If we don't, that's okay. It's not the end of the world, but we'll see. Vaporeon could also be the swap here. It's Mini Ghoul, so that is going to be the Gholdengo. So Gholdengo is going to switch in. I'm okay with this. Get hurt by the spikes. We stay asleep, unfortunately, so that sucks. That is our second turn asleep, so that's not great. I think what I'm going to do, I will go ahead and click U-turn one more time, just to see what you want to do. I want information on, like, whether you're Scarf, your Specs, or something like that, Nasty Claw, all the fun things. Hippowdon getting weakened down feels really, really good, so I'm not as concerned about this. We're gonna see Shadow Ball. So we just see a raw Shadow Ball, that's fine. Does a decent chunk of damage, and we do wake up, thankfully. So my guess is you're probably Scarf. I think this is the Scarf Pokemon. I think that makes the most sense. That does literally nothing. Oh my gosh. So you lock yourself into Shadow Ball. That makes sense. I think what I'm going to do, I could go into Husk and click Earth Power. Earth Power is a very free button click, but I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go into Joe. Going into Joe makes a lot of sense here. Even if you're Scarf, you're not going to do that much damage to me, and I can just go for a Crunch pretty freely, so I'm pretty happy about that. Overcool is getting super weakened, but it's already put in a lot of work against everything, so I'm going to go for a Crunch. I don't think Gholdengo can outspeed DEOXYS speed, that's Scarf, if I remember correctly. So let me just double check that, though. We are going to see the swap, so I think that does confirm. Yes. Okay, so DEOXYS does outspeed this that Pokemon, so that's really good to know. We're going to see Vaporeon come in, that makes sense. So we are going to fire off a Crunch. It's going to do a decent chunk of damage, at the very least. That, I think, is two-shot, actually. That's a two-shot, so I can just go for another one. I can go for another one. Yes, I'm taking Rocky Helmet Chip, but I'm okay with that. The Overcool has already done its job. It's weakened down so many Pokemon and allowed me to just really go ham, which is really nice. Half of my team outspeeds Darkrai as well, which is really solid information to have. My guess is Gholdengo is Scarf if it locked itself into Shadow Ball, so I'm okay with this. We're going to fire up another Crunch here. Vaporeon does not drop, unfortunately, but we do get the defense drop now, which is great. So we get hit by the Rocky Helmet, which is fine. We're going to see a Wish here. That's also fine. You're going to swap, I think you're probably going to swap into Darkrai. You either swap into Darkrai or you go for Protect. I could also see a Protect here. So maybe what I do is I go for a Scale Shot. You know what? Yeah, because I think, let me see here. Overquill, if I do go to +1, do I outspeed? No, I do not. So I think I just go for Barbarage here. We are going to go for the Barbarage, and Vaporeon goes down, which means the Wish does not pass. Vaporeon is dead, which is amazing for specifically no Wish passing, and also amazing for DEOXYS. So that's really nice. My guess is Darkrai is going to be, it's either Darkrai or Gholdengo, maybe Ogerpon, but I don't think you want to risk breaking your Sturdy on Ogerpon, because that's still very valuable. You don't go Snorlax here, you don't go Hippowdon here. I think you do have to go either Darkrai or Gholdengo. I'm going to let Overquill go down here. Overquill's already done more than enough for this team. We've weakened down Darkrai. Gholdengo we've gotten a lot of intel on, most likely is Scarf, so this is great. We are going to see the Darkrai switch in, which is fine by me. Okay, so Darkrai switches in. I'm going to go for a Barbarage just because I can and I want to, so that's what I'm going to do. And Darkrai is going to pick up the kill versus me, most likely. I would assume anyways. I don't think you go for Hypnosis here. And then I think you're in range for a lot. You're in range, let me see here. I think you're in range of U-turn from... You're possibly in range. It depends. It depends. I think I do need to go into Kilo, probably, and just click Air Slash. So I think that's what I'm going to do here. We are going to take some Rocks Chip, which is not great, but I'm okay with this. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I think I'm going to click Volt Switch. Volt Switch should always kill, and if you go into Hippowdon, then I can just go back into Corv. Yeah, I'm very okay with this play. I do not like taking damage, but that's fine. Rocks, ultimately, Rocks do kind of suck, but at the very least, now Gholdengo is most likely never going to be a swap, which is really good information to have. I'm very happy about that. We are going to go for the Volt Switch, so Darkrai is going to drop here, which is really good. Darkrai is down. I think now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my DEOXYS Speed. Yeah, I really like going DEOXYS Speed here, so I'm going to go DEOXYS Speed. Alrighty, Eject Pack Superpower is probably going to come in clutch. I'm assuming that's what procs here. Oh, we're flying. That's cool. I didn't even realize that. So, yep, we're exerting our pressure, which is great. Spikes is also coming in handy a lot. I'm very happy about the Spikes, how well they've been doing. If we see Gholdengo come in, then it's most certainly Scarf. They're taking a long time to figure out what they want to go into here. We are mixed attacking DEOXYS Speed. We're going to see War Rock. That sounds like it's probably Ogerpon if I had to guess. That is going to be Ogerpon. So Ogerpon switches in. We might be able to one-shot this, actually, now that I think about it. Ogerpon Cornerstone. We don't one-shot it, but we're still going to do a crap ton of damage, and I'm very happy about that. All right, we immediately go for the Superpower. Bada bing, bada boom. That's a lot of damage, which I'm very happy about. All right, and we fire off our Eject Pack, so we immediately swap out. That's amazing for us. Let's freaking go. I don't think I really need Kilo anymore, so I will go ahead and swap it to Kilowattrel. Kilowattrel was mainly here as a speed tie for Scarf Darkrai if it came. So I'm okay with letting Kilo go down here if we do see an Ivy Cudgel. We're going to see a Trailblaze, actually. So actually, this is amazing for me. Okay, so Trailblaze is the play. I go for U-turn here every single time because we are Scarf, and we will outspeed this, which is great. And U-turn will always kill. I go for U-turn. Yep, U-turn, bada bing, bada boom. Ogerpon goes down as well. That is massive. Let's go. Really glad I landed Kilo now, so that is amazing. So, let's see here. I could go back into DEOXYS. I think I might go Corv. No, I don't go Corv. I think I'm going to go into Husk, because that probably brings in Snorlax. Actually, I'm not too sure what I want to do here. Losing Overquill is unfortunate, and I would love to get rid of these hazards before I send in this Pokemon. I think I'm going to send in IM Speed. IM Speed literally counters everything, so I think that's what I'm going to do here. I like this play. I'm okay with this. All right, we're immediately exerting pressure as well, which is great. This is going to be very tough. Kilo's put in a lot of work. I really like that a lot. 2 pivoting KOs, which is really awesome. I'm a big fan of that. We're going to see Gravekeeper, so that is going to be Hippo. Hippo's going to switch in here. Okay, so, you see we're hurt by the spikes. Hippowdon. I think I'm forced to go into Tumbler here, unfortunately. I could also just let Kilo go down, but Kilo is good for, like, revenging against Gholdengo if needed. I think actually, you know what? No, I go Corviknight. I go Corviknight here every single time, just so that way I can recover HP. If you go for the double, that's okay. It's not the best case scenario, but I'm okay with going Corv here just because of the fact that I can roast up for free against this. We are going to see a Slack Off. That's fine. I'm okay with this. We're probably going to see the Gholdengo swap. I would love to get some HP recovery here because there's literally nothing that this thing wants to do to me. You can't click EQ because I should underspeed you unless you are like boosting, well, unless you're like minimum speed investment. So I'm going to go ahead and just go for a Roost here. I could also click U-turn pretty reliably too. I think U-turn does make sense. And then I can go back into DEOXYS, which I kind of like. Because if Gholdengo comes in for free, then and something dies, I'm going to go for U-turn here. I think that makes the most sense. We're going to see an EQ, so we do confirm that we underspeed this, which is great information to have. We're going to go for a U-turn here to do some damage. Bada bing, bada boom. And now I can just go into Bramblegast for free. I can literally go into Bramblegast and click either Poltergeist, C-Bomb. I can go for Strength Sap here. I can go for Spin. I can literally click any move that I want to here. Alright, we're going to get buffeted by the Sandstorm. I think I do kind of like going for Strength Sap. I need to make sure. Hold on a second. Okay, so Strength Sap doesn't work against Gholdengo, so I might actually instead go for Poltergeist here, predicting the Gholdengo swap. And you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to go for a Poltergeist here. We are going to attack, and we're going to hit the Hippowdon with leftovers. Okay, that makes sense. Boom, does a decent chunk of damage. We're going to see an EQ, that's fine. Okay. We're at 1 HP, but the sand is going to kill us, so that's unfortunate. Okay. Let's see here. How else do I want to handle this? I'll go back into I Am Driver, and then this time I will click Roost. I'm not the biggest fan of this, but I will click Roost this time because you've revealed that you can't do anything to me. So I'm going to go for Roost here. If you switch it to Gholdengo, well on you, but I think you're Scarf. We are going to see the Slack Off here on my Roost. So yeah, we've seen Slack Off, Earthquake, and a bunch of other things too, so this is fine. I'm okay with this. Alright, so we didn't get that play right. If we had gone for Strength Sap, that would have been amazing for me, but it is what it is. I think this time, once again, I will click U-turn because I don't think there's anything you can really do to me, so I will click U-turn here. We're just going to see another Slack Off. Alright, I've had enough of this. I'm going to go into Kyurem. Actually, you know what? No, I don't think I go into Kyurem here. This Hippowdon is an issue, mainly because... yeah, it's an issue. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to try to bring in Snorlax. So I'm going to threaten this out. We go into Kyurem, bada bing, bada boom. I'm a big fan of this. Alright, Sandstorm is gone. Regardless, we either get some chip on some crucial threats, or this is going to take a lot of damage, and I'm okay with either or. I could try to get creative, but I'm going to go for the safe play. We are going to see the swap here, that makes sense. So we're choice locked into this. We're going to see what the switching is here. It's going to be the Snorlax, that makes sense. So Snorlax is the switch. I immediately go into Corv here. Yep, we were gonna see you're hurt by the spikes. That's fine. Freeze dry, bada bing, bada boom. Does a small chunk of damage. Alright, that's fine. We go into Corviknight here every single time. This is just the play that we make. It actually looks like it might not be it might not be freeze dry. If it's probably like max HP, max defense if it is thick fat. So, and I feel like thick fat has to be what shows up here. So honestly, maybe not. It might be immunity, which would also make sense. Again, the nice thing about this is that, like, this can't really touch Corv, so that's really nice because we do still outspeed this, which is also extremely nice. We are going to see the Heat Crash. Well played. I don't think this will kill, though. Yeah, it doesn't kill, so we're chilling. We're still chilling. I'm going to go for a Roost here. Really smart prediction, but yeah, no, this is fine. I'm going to calc and see how much damage DEOXYS Speed does. It doesn't do over half against Snorlax, which is unfortunate. So basically, the more we chip things down, the better. Yep, we're going to see the swap. So Gholdengo is probably going to be the switch in if I had to guess. We're going to see, yep, that's going to be Gholdengo. So Gholdengo is going to switch in here, take some more damage from spikes, which is great for me. We're going to go for a Roost here, bada bing, bada boom. So last time well, okay, I don't want to get in range of rocks, and that's what I'm worried about. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to let this go down, unfortunately. I think that's just what I'm going to have to do. Yeah, I'll go ahead and let this thing go down. It might also just straight up die to rocks anyways, so I think that's probably what's going to end up happening here. We're going to go into the bus. Bada bing, bada boom. Here we go. We're at 2 HP, and a 2 HP in a dream. Let's go. Shadow Ball, bada bing, bada boom. That's fine. Okay. So you lock yourself into Shadow Ball. That's fine. We do still outspeed this with my other Mon. And I really think you're that. So I think what I'm going to do here, I either go Kyurem and allow Snorlax to come back in, which might end up happening. Earth Power to 67 to 79%. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Kyurem. I'm going to go into Kyurem here. They don't know I'm Scarfed yet, so hopefully they take the bait. They probably won't, but I don't care. I think I'm just going to go ahead and click the Earth Power anyways. We'll see what they want to do here. I could also just click Focus Blast here, so they do have to keep that in mind as well. Yeah, I'm not the happiest with this play. Yeah, no, they do swap here. So we're probably going to see the Snorlax switch in if I had to guess. And it is going to be the Snorlax. So Snorlax is switching back in. That's fine. Okay. Alright, so we go for an Earth Power here. Bada bing, bada boom. Does a small chunk of damage. Okay. I think I'm going to go into DEOXYS speed here now. We might actually end up losing this, unfortunately. Corviknight can win as long as Gholdengo dies. We need Gholdengo to die here. So I need to start making some reads. Alright, let's see what they want to do here. We're going to see an Iron Head. So they go for Iron Head. We do live, so that's awesome. I think here I'm just going to go for Superpower. Yes, it's incredibly obvious, but even if Gholdengo switches in, that's fine. I don't care if Gholdengo switches in here, because I can click Shadow Ball. No, it's going to be Hippo, actually, so Hippo's going to switch in. Okay, actually, that makes a lot of sense. That does make sense. So I think I'll die to Sand here, which is unfortunate, but it do be like that. We go for Superpower here. Bada bing, bada boom. It's going to do a decent chunk of damage. We love to see that. And hopefully we don't die to Sand. We might not, honestly. We might not die to Sand here. Let's see. Do we die to Sand? Survey says we don't. Perfect. All right. So you're probably clicking Slack off here, and honestly, I don't care if you do that. So I'm going to set up one more layer of spikes to weaken down Gholdengo as much as I can. All right. We set up the spikes. Bada bing, bada boom. This is great. Okay. Yep, we see the Slack off here. That makes sense. All right, that's fine. We're going to take some more damage from the Sand, which is unfortunate, but it do be like that sometimes. All right, we're going to go into Core. We're going to click Roost here, and we're probably going to have to try to... Yeah, the hazards going up here is really unfortunate, I won't lie. I'm going to click Roost here because I can and I want to. We are going to see the swap here, so that makes sense. Obviously, they're going to do that. We're going to see Mimighoul come in, okay. We're going to take some more damage, which is from the spikes, which is really great. I like that a lot. We're going to go for Roost here. So we're not going to be able to PP stall, unfortunately. So I think what I might have to do is I might have to click U-turn here on a Shadow Ball. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I think, okay, they just go for Thunderbolt. That's fine. Okay. So we take a lot of hit damage from that. Okay, so you're very clearly going to switch here. So I think what I do on the switch is I just go for Focus Blast. Yeah, I think what I do is I go for Focus Blast here every single time. There's no way for me to really win this game with Hiram, unfortunately. I think I am going to lose, which sucks. So now it's just going to come down to evening out the diff. So I'm going to go for Focus Blast here. I should have done this play sooner, but it is what it is. There's not much I can really do about it now. We're going to see the swap. That makes sense. So we'll see what switches in here. It's going to be Gravekeeper, so it's actually going to be the Hippo that switches in now. That's fine. You're going to take some more damage from spikes, which is great. Well, not great, but you get my point. Focus Blast, bada bing, bada boom. Alright, so you go down to like half, which is great. We're going to see the Sandstorm subside, which is awesome. But, unfortunately, I am locked into Focus Blast. So, yeah. The thing that I do here is I just let Hiram go down as much as I don't want to. And, yeah, that's gonna be it. The best case scenario is if they don't swap into Gholdengo here, so that way I can, at least make it a 2-0 loss. But really well played by my opponent. I didn't play around Hippo well enough. I didn't play around Rocks well enough. I should have gotten the Rocks off the field before the Bramble Gas went down. I should have gone for Strength Sap, but I thought Gholdengo had a really good shot of switching in there. I should have played a bit more. Okay, and I missed. So, okay. It do be like that sometimes. We're gonna see a Rock Tomb, actually. So they did have Rock Tomb, which is very interesting. Okay. Alright, so yeah, they're gonna reveal lefties. That's fine. We already know that they have lefties. They're probably gonna click the Slack off here, if I had to guess. We're going to go into Driver, and we're going to let Gholdengo eventually pick us off. Just in case we live, we're going to do this. We're going to see Rock Tomb. Okay, that's fine. So we actually see that we lower their speed first. Oh, that's actually Heat Tech. That's super Heat Tech, low-key. Okay, I respect it. We go for Roost here, so now we can't... Yeah, now they underspeed me. So, you know what? I'll play your game a little bit. Why not? I'll set up an Iron Defense in your face. Why not? Might as well. I'll go for an Iron Defense here, just for fun. I knew that Gholdengo was going to be the issue with this particular set, so they played around me really, really solidly. I have to respect that. So we are going to see that we do live this attack, which is, or well, we don't get hit by it, which is great. I think this time I will, let's see, do you die here? Nope, not quite. I will go for U-turn just in case you switch into Gholdengo. And we're gonna let Gholdengo finish me off. Homedawgs gonna drop, so at least we make this an 0-2 loss, which is fine by me. Hey, if you could go to the Snorlax here, that'd be pretty cool. There's no reason for you to, but if you could do that, that'd be awesome. I won't lie. But yeah, Gholdengo is going to come in here, and it's going to outspeed me, and it's going to pick up the kill. Really well played to my opponents. I guess I did underestimate the usage of Scarf Gholdengo. I was hoping to bring it in a bit more to get damaged more by rocks, but it do be like that. Really, really well played once again. Mad respect. GG's to my opponent. We are starting off with the 0-2 loss in this league, but ultimately I'm still not too concerned. I did like my matchup here, but there were definitely, yeah, my opponent definitely played well. I had the early game and I kind of let it go during the end game there with letting certain things drop. I think I should have had a way to recover HP with Overquill. I think would have been the best thing for me, but it was also like Farigiraf didn't have a great matchup here, so it do be like that. Ultimately, I think I could have definitely played a bit better, but losing Overquill early and letting hazards go up really sucked. So we'll have to play around that next time, but once again, GG's to my opponent. Really, really well played, and I'm sure we'll bounce back. I'm not too worried about that at all, so yeah. In the meantime, be sure to check out my opponent's side of the battle, link down below. I'm very excited to see it myself, and yeah, I think that'll do it. With all that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you all so much for watching. I really, really hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you soon in the next video. Peace out, mates!